Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Career Connectors discussion panel. And today we are going over the biotechnology systems pathway. And my name is Elena Canat, and this year I'm serving as the Minnesota FFA State Treasurer. I'm originally from Thief, River Falls, Minnesota, but currently I'm going to the University of Minnesota Crookston for agriculture education. And my other panelist host is...
Hello, everyone. I am Emily Sandrome, and I'm currently serving as the state vice president this year, originally from the Mountain Lake FFA chapter, and studying at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, majoring in agricultural education. And I think we can hand it over to the panelists to do a quick intro of yourself, and yeah.
Well, good morning, host, and good morning, class. My name is Joel Dorn. I live in the greater Mankato region. I work as a territory manager for Pioneer Seed. In this role, I manage and lead a sales team and work directly with customers to maximize the profitability for our products and services. Glad to be here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Burns. I'm a graduate student at the University of Minnesota. I graduated over the border in Wisconsin, River Falls. And in my role as a graduate student, I am currently researching how to make better breeding tools so that breeders can breed better corn for products like tortilla chips.
That's awesome. So, Michael, we kind of heard a little bit about what led you to where you are right now. Joel, can you start off and answer the question of what led you to your career at Pioneer? And then we'll go over to Michael. And for yours, what led you to pursue a PhD?
You bet. The career in agriculture for me, it really involves several acumens. One is the biotech side, which Michael's going to discuss a lot more in detail due to his education. But for me, it's about that agronomy. It has business acumen. My current role has some sales, service, and then all of the agricultural systems basically in one. I was led to this career through, grew up on a family farm, as well as that post-education. I did an associate's degree at South Central Tech College in ag business, and then I finished my major at University of Minnesota in agronomy. And so just through that coursework and several internships over that process, kind of led me into this career of the Pioneer side, which allows me to really work with customers and really understand better their operations and products that I have to better suit their needs. So it's kind of a pathway of coming and growing up in agriculture and then leading through that on an education.
Yeah, and so my path to deciding to go for a PhD was really kind of me thinking about in college what I wanted to do with my career. When I was in high school, I knew I wanted to go into science. I knew I wanted to go into a biotechnology field. So I decided to get a major in biotechnology at the University of Wisconsin, River Falls. And so after about my junior year, I decided I needed to really kind of start thinking about if I wanted to go into industry or go into academia and pursue a higher degree. After some thought and talking to professors, I decided I wanted to go on for my PhD. And my PhD isn't biotechnology in the sense that everyone may think of. The way I learned biotechnology is more along the lines of using technology to improve some form of life. And so the biotechnology that I use is more computational biology. And so the path wasn't what I expected. I always expected to be working in a field that was more similar to like modifying genomes and things like that. But it's a very broad field that you can do a lot in. And pursuing my PhD was my way of being able to continue my research and be able to lead a research team when I'm done.
Yeah, so both of you really have diverse ways of where you led into your career pathway. So what does a typical day look like for you?
I can tackle this question first. When I think about a typical day for me, I think that's one of the benefits of choosing agriculture as a career path. Agriculture for me is really seasonal, and I like to think about the role that I have and have had within the ag systems is really about following kind of the spring, summer, fall, winter seasons. And so for my role in particular, as we're moving into the spring season, it's a lot about preparation and getting people ready with their technology, with their agricultural systems, with the products that we provide, and just getting them into the field. And then it's working along that individual to make sure that they've got the right and the best foot forward to start off the season. As that summer season rolls around, there's just a lot of product evaluation, a lot of systems and conversations happening about other alternatives to use and implement for additional yield opportunities within their product or production systems. And then the fall is probably my favorite, where we get to actually yield and harvest those results of that. And that then turns into a lot of post mortem as in regards to looking at results and trying to understand where to help that individual do better for the next year. And then the winter season for us, or for me in particular, is a lot of training, a lot of education, and just a lot of what we call crop shops and helping other growers understand the systems that way they work in. So a typical day really depends on the season. Today's is all about we're preparing and doing field planning and putting product in on particular fields that we think is going to do the best for that producer. So I think that's one of the values of working in agriculture. You just have diversity within your field.
Yeah, I can really echo that. There's definitely a seasonality to my typical day, but even saying that, I think it's better to almost think of it more as a typical week. And any day is going to be different. Since I'm pursuing my PhD, I still have classes to take, so that's a pretty common thing to do every single day. I usually only have about one a day at this point. Every day I'm trying to read papers, do a little bit of writing as part of my PhD. I'll be publishing some papers, and so I am constantly working on that. There's always data to be analyzed, data to be collected, things like that. So in any given day, I will probably work on 2, 3, 4 of these things. And throughout a week or a month, I'll be hitting a lot of different aspects of my job. And so no day is really the same. And beyond that, similar to what Joel said, there's a lot of seasonality to it. We still go out to the field and we plant and harvest, and we actually hand pollinate all of our plants. And so in order to do this, it's obviously during the summertime. But even during the winter, there are aspects where we have like conferences or things like that, where it's a whole week where we're beyond COVID, where we'd spend like a week out in like San Diego or in St. Louis, Missouri, at conferences where people are sharing their data and their publications.
Wow. Both of you shared a lot of different things that you do on the daily basis. And our next question for you is, how did your college education or degree program prepare you for those things that you do on a daily basis? I'll start with you, Joel.
No, those are good questions as well. I think the college education really helped prepare on several ways. One was the academia and just the basic foundations of, for me, was plant science and biosystems. And so understanding really the science behind the process to help better educate myself as well as re-communicate those systems to other individuals. The second one was really just the individuals I met and just that college connections that everyone has really helped in regards to connecting with other people. And then I think lastly, or third, would be those other resources and activities that happen outside of the actual classroom. So those being, for example, like FFA, or for me it was the crops and soils, or it was other activities outside. So helping those and just better understanding kind of the systems in whole. That was probably what happened for me.
Yeah, for me, the classes really gave me a foundation of the knowledge that I took on to grad school. Grad school is unique from undergraduate, where undergraduate you're kind of learning to absorb the knowledge, and graduate school you're learning to produce the knowledge. And so there's kind of a dichotomy there, but I would say the classes were important in getting the base knowledge, but I think one of the most important aspects was the things that happened outside of classes. So participating in like the chemistry club and the chemistry demonstrations team was really important for me to network and to reach out and see what other people were doing or wanted to do. It was also really important for me that I got to do some hands-on research with some faculty members. And so some faculty members would kind of take me under their wing and teach me, you know, this is the scientific process, this is what we do, this is how research should be done, and kind of teaching me that process and kind of instilling that passion for research in me.
Yeah, so your guys' education really helped you prepare, whether that was in class or even outside in like clubs and organizations. The next question is, what are your most valuable talents and skills?
The talents and skills question, I think, is it's a good question, because what it does, it allows individuals to kind of share where they feel strong in. But I also believe that it also changes with the role that I'm in. And in the current role is about leadership, communication, and organization are skills that I believe are my most valuable in the career path. These talents, some of these talents come natural to me, and others are essentially a lifelong education that I continue to learn about myself. But I think in other roles, there's also been functional skills and other things that you learn throughout your college career that also would help. But for me, it's that leadership, communication, and organization.
Yeah, I can echo a lot of those. I think one of the biggest skills that I'm still working on a lot is the communication side of things. One of the most important things that we can do in science is communicate our research and our findings. And being able to do that effectively is a real skill that takes a lot of time to learn. I think probably some of the other biggest skills that I use on a daily basis aren't things that you necessarily learn in a classroom directly. Like there's no one teaching you these topics, but they're skills nonetheless that you learn kind of from working in classes. And those are things like critical thinking, problem solving. I can't tell you how many hours I've already put in this week alone troubleshooting code that isn't working, or trying to figure out why an experiment didn't work the way we expected, and kind of taking that critical thinking aspect and using the knowledge that I've gained from high school, undergraduate, and graduate school, and trying to figure out why something isn't working and kind of how to make it better. I think those are some of the most important skills that I'm using nowadays.
Awesome. So Joel, you kind of talked about academia and the pure knowledge of learning in your upper level education. Going back to high school, what knowledge did you use on a daily basis that you gained from your high school courses?
So I reflect back on high school, I think some of the foundations that I carried forward into that collegiate career was really mathematics and biology. However, indirectly, like I mentioned earlier, school organizations like FFA, athletics taught me a lot of teamwork and collaboration. And so I think that discipline of the studies that you learned in high school, but also just accompanied with that, how to work with people and how to get through problems, not only by yourself, but as a group or a team, probably was some of the most valuable things I did in high school.
Yeah, I can echo a lot of that. I really viewed high school as a strong foundation for helping me, with my classes in college and graduate school. A lot of the things that I learned in high school I still use today. I was never a huge fan of math, but I use it literally every day now. There's a lot of classes like plant science, biology, chemistry, things like that I use almost every day, if not every day. Reading and writing skills are every day. Knowing how to present. Presentations are a really big thing in graduate school. You're giving poster presentations, PowerPoint presentations. Those are really important things that I learned in high school that I know I would have been far behind if I hadn't gotten the chances to learn those things in high school.
Yeah. So today we're here because we're doing a panelist, and hopefully this will help some high school kids kind of help them give direction on what they want to do in their careers. So what are some pieces of advice that you can give to our high school students watching today that you found most valuable to help start your career?
Yeah, when I reflect back and put myself in your shoes back in high school, to be honest, I never really thought about college. I had a successful family farm that I was planning on going back to, and unfortunately, that was during a time I became a senior that that farm wasn't as profitable as I once thought it would be. So that's kind of what launched my college career into South Central Technical College and an ag associate's degree. And from there, it was really meeting and the professors as well as other like-minded students that helped me stay focused and get further education to do what I do today. But I think the really talents and skills gained, again, is that networking and trying to understand from other professional leaders, whether that be those college professors or individuals that I met through that college career path, helped me get to where I am today. And lastly, I had also taken the advantage to take 4 internships. And those internships were, one was in central Iowa, one was in Nebraska, and then 2 were in different parts of Minnesota. And that really forced me out of my comfort zone to meet and live with some areas that I wasn't particularly familiar with. And it also really helped me kind of guide my light of where I want to be. So I think that combination of just compounding events over time was really helpful.
Yeah, I would say internships are really important. They really help give you a sense of what you want to do with your life. You may get to an internship and realize on like day 3 that this is just not what you enjoy, and that kind of stinks. But you may go to an internship like this is the only internship I could get, so I guess I'll just make the most of it, and it may turn out to be the thing that you decide this is what you want to do with your life. I would say my 2 biggest pieces of advice are don't stop trying to get the job you want, but also on the flip side, recognize that job will probably change, especially if you're going into a field like science, or even a somewhat related field. Jobs change pretty quickly, and be open to that change. I've been asked multiple times, even since starting college, when I used to tell people that what I wanted to work on, they'd say, "Well, are you sure that job is still going to be the job you think it is when you graduate?" And that was just 4 years out. So I would say don't stop chasing the job that you want, but at the same time recognize that it will change, and be open and accepting to that change.
Absolutely. Change. If we've learned anything this year, it's the idea of change. So, what activities in your job have you enjoyed the most, or found most interesting? And then on the flip side of that, what have you disliked or maybe felt a little bit uncomfortable with?
Absolutely. So the biggest activity that I enjoy in my job is really helping people succeed. And so this can be through personal development, professional development, or through customers and clients' economic or through yield goals. So I really found over the years that when others succeed around me, I too feel successful, and that's become more important than individual success. However, much like most things in life, not everything is unicorns and butterflies. So some of the biggest challenges are the unknown and unpredictability of the weather and environment we work in. So however, regardless of where you're working, if you're working with good people, you feel passionate about your career and the things you do, even the worst situations come out to look fairly rosy at the end. So I think keeping that positive attitude for everyone, myself, no matter the age or the career, is keeping that positive attitude throughout the long look will definitely help everybody.
I would say one of the parts I enjoy most about my job is the first thing that comes to mind is the problem solving and the getting the satisfaction you have when you've been troubleshooting something for a week and it finally works. Just yesterday I finally got something to work that I'd been working on for like the last 2 or 3 weeks, trying to troubleshoot, figure out why it's not working. It's just one of those things that kind of like finishing a puzzle finally, where you put that last piece in and it's complete and you can just enjoy the puzzle and the way it looks. That's one of the parts that I enjoy most about my job. One of the parts that I struggle with the most is the writing side of things. I did not go into science to write papers, but it's a very important part of the job. So I'm learning to be better at it. I'm learning to improve my writing skills, and I think realizing that there are going to be aspects of a future job that you're not going to like and you're going to have to improve on is really important, but also kind of learning to enjoy those experiences is also a really important aspect, because I can sit here and try to fight the writing process all day, every day, but that doesn't really make sense because it's going to be a huge part of my career. So learning to enjoy those things and finding ways to make it work for you is really important.
Yeah, so we have one more questions for you guys. So what are you looking for in future employees? I would say for Michael, maybe you can kind of modify the question to what are some qualities that future graduate students should have?
You bet. So when I think about the people that I'm looking for is really with a solid education, proven track record, those who have experienced, college both academically and through extracurriculum, that being clubs and organizations. So you've got this series of proven performance. But I would say probably the most important thing is really attitude and if you're going to fit our company culture. And so we talked about it earlier about, the things that really help people succeed is the positive attitude, and it's amazing how that can carry forward in a lot of ways. But those are probably the top 4 things that I'd be looking for an individual.
Yeah, for graduate school, the difficult part is everyone comes in with such a different background. So thinking about it, I think the number one thing that someone would have to have going into graduate school, at least in the hard sciences, it's hard to speak for other graduate programs, but in the hard sciences, I think the number one thing is a passion for research and a passion for learning. In graduate school, you learn that like even though you're done with classes, you're never really done learning ever. There's always more papers to read. There's always more things to learn, more research to be done. And I think a passion for that kind of mindset is really important. And while, yes, grades matter and there's a standardized test currently to get into graduate school, but a lot of programs are going away with that. But, the test scores and grades matter somewhat, but typically it's really, can you convey to the person you want to work with the passion you have for research and the passion you have for wanting to learn new things and generate new knowledge.
Awesome. So with that, like Emily said, that was our last question for you guys. Thank you so much for coming on today to share all your knowledge and wisdom and your answers for these questions. They were really, really helpful. I know I learned something, and I hope that our students in the classroom learned something as well. So again, thank you so very much for coming, and students, we hope you have a very nice day.